Here's what we have objections. I used to hate objections. My second trait is D, my third trait is S, but in business, I seem to default to the IS a lot more. Okay, so in things to do, like, because I'm an I and I want to have a good time, when I hit a town and say, well, what are we doing today? I don't have to go through, well, what do you want to eat? Well, what do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? I'm going to say, well, this is what I want to do. So I'm a D when it's going out to have fun, which is still part of the I. Okay, but in business, I default to the people side over here. So I don't want to create conflict. So I hated objections. So I bought all these books and all these tapes and learned all these answers to every objection. So someone would say an objection, and I'd spit out the answer. Someone would say an objection, and I'd spit out the answer. And I wasn't closing anybody. And I'm wondering, what's wrong? I got all the answers. Well, I don't need to have the answers, because I don't need to object and respond. I need to ask and clarify. And that's what we don't do. Someone gives us an objection. Okay, here's an objection. We have to ask and clarify. Okay. Real estate. I do a lot of these for real estate groups. Okay. I walk in, they're selling real estate, talking about how to buy no money down or do this or whatever they are. But real estate agents all have the same thing. Someone walks into a home, and this is usually one of the number one questions: is there a school nearby? And what 99.9% of all the real estate agents do is they respond and go, yes, there's one only 2 blocks away, and it's an incredible school. How old are your kids? It's going to be great for them. What didn't they know? Whether that's a good thing or not. Well, is there a school nearby? Why? Is having a school nearby important to you? Well, no, I used to live two doors down from a school before, and the kids tore up my yard, and nothing was ever safe, and things got stolen all the time. I don't be anywhere near a school. Well, fantastic. The school's 2 blocks away. You won't have any problem with that. See, it's the same answer. I just answered it in the way that they wanted the answer answered. But if I don't ask the question, I can't answer the question. See, it's not fair when you know what they want, because you can answer the question from their perspective, which is what they really want. That's really what they want. They're asking from their perspective. They want it answered in their perspective. But what we usually do is answer from our perspective. So women's schools are usually important to you. A lot of women are real estate agents, and therefore, if someone asks about a school, they assume they ask because they want a nice school. But that's not always the case. You got to ask and clarify. Here's another one. Joe was talking about a little bit before, price. Well, is it cheaper? People always ask that. Well, is it cheaper? Question is, cheaper than what? And here's the other thing, too, is I don't like to sell the cheapest product in any field. If I'm going to go sell something, I want the most expensive product in that category, because I can sell quality all day long. But if you sell a customer on cheaper, someone can always walk in and be cheaper in 2 months. I just told them how it was. That was the thing that I learned through business, and learned even more from Joe, because I learned it through examples of what I was doing, but I learned from him to apply it in everyday life, because when I was doing it in business, I was real good at it, but then in my personal life, I didn't use it. I was a doormat. Any friends or family came over, I was running them all over God's creation, because I didn't know when to say no or, draw the line. I'll give you another business example where I used it really, really well, where I was doing this place called Trump's Plaza Casino in Atlantic City, and we're doing all the lighting for the casino. And again, we're a small company, because this was about a year previous to the Swan and Dolphin, okay? And we're working on this, and they said, well, you're a small company, so what we're going to do is we're going to split up the contract. We're going to give half to you and half to another company in California, because that was my number one competitor, right? So we get it done, we deliver it. 2 weeks prior to the casino supposed to being opening, I get a call from a man with funny hair, with a voice that's undeniable, on a conference phone. Even though it was on a conference phone, you knew who it was, because he was in the room with this guy, Wally Abel, who was the guy that I was working with on the project, and he was in the room, and he started talking, and he goes, hey, Tom, he said, we've got a situation here. Our company in California said they can't deliver for 8 weeks, and we've got to open in 2, or we're going to have $1 million a day penalty or whatever, and we need to get this thing open, and yada, yada, yada. He said, can you build the other half in 2 weeks? I said, yes, if I can get this amount more, because I'm going to have to hire people to work extra shifts. And it was a fair price. I mean, I wasn't even like gorging them. It was just like really what my extra costs were. So I said, I need this, I need that, I need to know this information, and I need a check here for this portion and for the last job, because it's been 90 days since I delivered and I ain't been paid yet. Okay. And I said, and if you can do that, I'll get you out of hot water. and I got the "you'll never work in this town again" speech. Anybody ever had one of those speeches? Yeah. And by a guy that says, "You're fired," now on television, right? So so he said, "You'll never work in this town again." It was before he learned, I guess, "you're fired." And I said, "I'm sorry you feel that way." I said, "It's just, I'm a small company, as you already know, because that's why you didn't give me the whole job in the first place. And I can do the work, but I don't have the money to do the job and hope to get paid." Because in traditional business, you have these things called accounts receivables, 30, 60, 90, and never. The first project was already moving into the never column, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't going to take that risk. So I got the, "you'll never work in this town again" thing. I got to hang up on the phone, and 3 hours later, because I was 2.5 hours from the city, a limo driver showed up with a check. And we finished the job, and that's why we exploded, because that was like a bomb going off, because no one in the lighting business ever delivered on time. No less early in helping somebody else that's, messed it up. So that was when our business exploded. And then guess what? When he built the second casino, guess who was the first call? Because I was honest. It wasn't a slight, it was honest. I'm a small business. I need the money or I can't do it. You give me the money, I'll perform for you, man. I'll do whatever you need, but I need to get paid. Give me the money, I'll make it happen. And we did. Okay. Let's finish this last thing on price, because I got off on a rabbit hole there. We'll come back. Remember what I said? Is it cheaper? Cheaper than what? This is the most recognizable corporate image in the world. Starbucks might be encroaching in on there now, but before Starbucks, this was the most. Those of you that know what I'm talking about, if you do what I do and rent some fluids from Starbucks, yeah. So yeah, I do the same thing, yeah. So one of my favorite places. But anyway, so you have this can of Coke. I have a standard can of Coke. Most recognizable thing in the world. What did I pay for it?
Where did you buy it?
That's what I need to know first. I got to ask a question. I got to dig deeper. Where did I buy it? What about if I bought it at a box store? What do you think I paid for a can of Coke? 35 cents.
What's a box store?
A box store is where they sell liquor and things, usually in cases. And I don't know if we have them here in Orlando, but I know down in Port St. Lucie where I was, they had them. Distributors, okay, in New York, there you go. So box store, okay, grocery store. What about a grocery store? 75 cents. Well, 50 cents, 75 cents. What about if I bought it at a convenience store? $1.50. Now here's the funny thing. I'll go talk to people about consumer products, and they'll say to me, "Well, if it's not cheaper, it won't work." And it's like, really? When was the last time you were at 7-Eleven? Okay, so it ain't really about price, is it? It's not always about price. Okay. What about if I bought it in the vending machine? $2. What about if I bought it at Disney? Yeah, exactly. Okay. What about if I bought it in my hotel room in that little refrigerator underneath the counter? Yeah, $7.50, $5, $6, right. Okay. Now, what changed? Yeah, people buy on perceived value, which is a balance of price and convenience. Why will I pay $6 for a can of Coke in my hotel room? Because I can buy it in my underwear and I don't have to go down, get dressed and go downstairs to go get it. It's convenience that I'll pay the extra money for. See, it's about a balance. And everybody thinks it's about price. If I'm going to pick a market, if I'm going to go into a new field, I want to be the most expensive kid on the block, not the cheapest. Because you know what? I got to do less work to make more money, too. Kind of like we're having a conversation with some guys in Lakeland a long time ago, and they were running an auto detailing thing, and they said, "I'm just working myself to death, and my wife wants me home. How do I do that?" I said, "Raise your prices 20%. They go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Raise your prices 20%. You'll lose 20, 30% of your clients. You'll make about the same amount of money. And you'll gain a day back. You can spend it with your wife, and she'll get off your back." You know what happened? He raised his prices. He lost 20% of his clients. He made the same money, worked a day less. Sometimes we're all worried about price. It's like, well, I need to be cheaper to get the job. No, you don't. You need to do a good job and be fair with your price. It's a fair price if you're doing better work. It's okay to charge more if you're doing a better job. If you're taking care of your clients more, it's okay to get more money. What a concept. It's okay. You can do it.